Kind of shook the excess Armor-Dilloz out of this tire. I wasn't going to save it, but the old tires are useful to putting on new tires to prop it up on when you change your tires. So now I'm going to clean out this old Armor-Dilloz and then off the rim. See how hard or easy it is to clean the Armor-Dilloz off of the rim. Now it is water soluble, so when I removed it off of the tire, it wasn't any problem at all. Actually, since I could kind of hose the tire, I just did it with a garden hose, came right off, no problem. So you can see this is wiping off and cleaning it up really easy though. So I've heard slime can be a real pain to clean if you use that, but the Armor-Dilloz, as you see, no problems, came right off. This is a dry rag. I used a wet one before, and there you go. The Armor-Dilloz is clean and off of the rim, no residue. Good job, Corey. When you're putting your tires back on, you need to make sure that you look for the direction that the tire is supposed to rotate. So please take note of that. These are the U-lips that I'm putting on, which are the supposed clones of the PMTs. But you know they're not going to be as good as the PMTs, but they're a lot less expensive. But they are nylon with rubber, as opposed to just rubber. All right, the rotation of my tire is this way. So my motor goes on this way with the motor cable going over here. So that means the tire's going to be, and wheel's going to be going that way. So this needs to go on this side like this. So I am going to put some Bead Buddy from Armor-Dilloz to lubricate this tire bead, see if I can slip it on. I don't know, I've never used this before, so let's put a little bit. That's got to go on. Yep, this goes on first. And you do want to make sure there's certain things, compounds you shouldn't put on your tires. And I'd have to look it up again. I bought this, so I wouldn't have to worry about it. But there's some things, the lubricants you shouldn't use that could damage your tires. So, moment of truth, see how hard it's going to be. I got the Bead Buddy lubricant on the tire. This side goes on. I've got it zip tied. Let's see how hard it is to get on. Watch your motor cable. Okay, I'm struggling a little bit here. I went ahead and tightened up the zip ties to where the beads are touching all the way around. Hope that made a difference. And also, when you are doing this, make sure you keep your tire up. I've noticed that my motor wire is a little loose, and I hope I hadn't tugged on it unknowingly. And now I've got to make sure that I get the tire back in the right direction since I've messed around with it. So I'd hate to put it on backwards, that would suck. Okay, and I know that is on here somewhere. Rotation this way. So motor cable's that way, it's gonna go on like this. All right, here we go. Let's see, I'm pulling on that. I need two tires. I hope I hadn't disconnected my motor inside and have to pull that out. That's gonna bite if I did. More work. Okay, it's going into the other tire. I don't think this box is strong enough to press on. None of my things seem to go easy. So the zip ties, ended up cutting several of them loose. Had the lubrication on there. What I ended up doing was squeezing it on by having one of these big clamps on the other side of the rim and then pulling the tire in with those tire spoons. Finally got it on. It was a pain. Maybe the front one will go easier, but I'm getting ready to try to put the valve stem back in to put some air in the tire. I'm concerned that I tugged on this too much, so I might end up pulling the deck to make sure my motor is connected properly. I try to keep my feet out of the way. I know I've been getting them in the video. Y'all don't want to see that, but I'm sitting on the floor all contorted and everything. So I'm really worried about this. I may pull the deck to make sure that I didn't pull those wires loose. And then when you change the tire, you do get it on, trying to get air back in it is a problem. So I used a strap around the tire to squeeze it so that the bead would set and I was able to get air back in it. So soon I'll be trying to go back together with it. It'll be smooth on changing these brake pads. Like I said, there's a cotter pin right there. All you've got to do is straighten it. Like I said, some of the other ones have a bolt there. You just unscrew it. It might actually be a little bit easier. I don't know. These cotter pins, after a while, have to be replaced. If you replace them too much, if you're heavy on your brakes, you might need to put new cotter pins in here. So they would break. Oh, I got my cheap pair of needle nose, of course. They're flexing on me. Stand by. All right, these are a little better. Still not the pair I was looking for. If you get that cotter pin straight, then you can just pull it out. Straighten it up a little bit so I can get it back in easier. And then these brake pads should just pull right out the top like that. You see one still in there, but they just fit in this little bracket. And the new ones, the same thing. They just slide onto that. It's being held like that. The other new one slides in the outside like that. And then, theoretically, you should be able to squeeze them and put them put them right back in. Now it's very important when you have these off that you don't mess with your brake pedal. You don't want to press your brakes, because if you do, you're going to have everything messed up because there's nothing there for it to hit. So your piston that comes out of the brake caliper will go all the way, and it would kind of mess you up. Now that's where I'm having, because I didn't straighten that cotter pin out enough, getting it back in. Don't recommend doing that, but I knew it wasn't much to get through. And then all you got to do is bend that tab back over. You need to make sure you bend it over enough, I guess, that it's not going to interfere with anything. But that's it. You got new brake pads. New brakes on. Got the new tire on, and it seems like this tire's balanced pretty well, actually. So I'm surprised. That's just vibration that's being up on the thing, on the stand. It's not vibrating a lot. So we'll see how it rides. Let's get the front one done. All right, old scooter dude here. I got the road tires on, and I got both of the new brake rotors on, the 160 millimeter here, 160 millimeter there. I got new brake pads on. And you can see the road tires, got the off-road tires are removed. Got the road tires on. Just gonna take it out for a quick spin. It's too hot. It's 94 degrees and high humidity, so it's just a little short run to see how it goes.